All right. Hello, this is Heather Marquez, and we are joined today as we do another business success interview with Glynis Worthington and Laura Dobson, and they are from LED Brighter Communities, which is a local for impact. Now, I say for impact because as small business owners, we know that to do the good out in the world, we all have to make money to have the resources to do that. So rather than being for profit, these two ladies have started a company that is for impact. So tell us about the impact that you are working to make in our community and a little bit about LED Brighter Communities.
Well, LED Brighter Communities, as you said, is for impact. We're a nonprofit with a goal of helping to essentially help our residents and businesses across the community change lighting systems, change our light bulbs to LED technologies from incandescent technologies that were developed and invented back in the 1800s. It's time to change because this new light bulb technology, LED, has been around now for decades, and it essentially only requires about 10 to 20% the electricity to produce light as the old bulbs. But
wow.
But a lot of us aren't aware of what it means to make a few hours worth of effort and change. For example, in a household, by taking a few hours to understand and change over your light bulbs, you can save at least $200 a year in energy spending savings, and you help to reduce how much electricity you're requiring, which helps to cut down on the amount of electricity that needs to be generated, which then helps to reduce the load on the grid. And it's just an all win-win-win-win kind of situation.
So how did you get into light bulbs and lighting?
How did you become a light bulb lunatic? Yeah.
Started it.
I did. My son came home from West Point he had surgery. And he said, Mom, give me something to do. Otherwise, I'm going to go out of my mind while I'm recovering, because he was immobilized at the time. He has a very brilliant mind. And I had just been to Menards the day or two before. And I threw him a light bulb and said, honey, if you can make this, I felt humiliated in front of the light bulb shelves at the store. And if you could figure out how to make that decision process easier, you would be doing us all a favor. And he said, essentially, you're on. I'll think about it. And he took the time to understand that you have to make 7 different decisions properly in diagnosing the bulb. To do a 1-for-1 exchange, you essentially, the reason we all make a mess of the decision and end up with extra bulbs that don't work that we bring home from the store is that we have to make multiple decisions correctly, understanding the bulb that we have based on different characteristics of the bulb. And then we have to purchase one that matches with those same characteristics. And the bulb manufacturers don't exactly label anything very easily that says this is how it gets done. So LED, how many times have you been to the hardware store and brought home? We've asked the sales clerk to help us, and there are some out there that are very knowledgeable, but it's not a guarantee that you're going to have somebody be able to light your way. How do you like the pun? When you're at the store? So the thought was, every household, I dug around more with federal data, and we've learned from energy.gov that the average household has between 40 and 50 light bulbs. And then with COVID, we're probably home twice as much as what we usually are. And the idea is if we switch our light bulb technologies, we reduce the amount of electricity that we use. It's collaboratively across our community. If we all do it, it's a much greater impact than even a number of electric cars getting on the road, or switching to solar, or all these other projects require huge capital investments.
And this doesn't require a lifestyle change. You're not having to change the way you live in order to save money and help the planet at the same time. So it's really an easy thing to do if you know how to choose the bulbs.
And it's a difficult. The thought would be, if this is a great thing, why don't market forces help to make this happen? Light bulbs on average now, even the LED ones, cost just over $2 a piece. There's not a lot of margin in these bulbs. And it's a little bit of a complicated, like we already spoke of, process. Then even if you are going to go out and buy 40 or 50 of them at the same time, or 10 or 2 or 5, it's because of the small per unit cost of the items, it's not a lot of profit in it. So there's not a lot of money for education. So that's where we come in.
So a lot of small business owners in their business are really battling this huge obstacle of expenses and trying to figure out how to reduce their expenses. Now, when I talk to my clients about how to make an impact in their margin, one of the simple things that I usually bring up as an example is, what if you had motion censored lights so that when your team leaves for the weekend, nobody accidentally leaves the lights on, and now you're starting to save all of that money. So as a small business owner, when margins are already usually pretty tight, especially the smaller you are, and you're trying to look for money-saving ideas, how would we go about implementing the strategies that you're talking about, choosing the right bulb and really updating our system so that we can save a couple $100 a year at a minimum, probably?
Right. It's different whether you're looking for a business or you're looking for residential.
Okay.
Business, there's a lot more involved, so many different types of bulbs and all. For residents, which we're really making a push for too, it's a lot easier. So, you can just go through your house and you have all these different kinds of bulbs, but what do you do? So one of the things that we're looking to come up with is a cell phone app that can help you do that, where you can just snap a picture of your bulb and it will identify it and then help you with those choices that you still need to make in order to choose the right bulbs.
We'll know in the next hour if we've won a coding hack through an organization called Code Launch that's for entrepreneurs. If we're getting the prize of a large chunk of coding talent to help to create this app for us, they'll be able to diagnose light bulbs. So that's a place to start. Businesses also then too, there are ways you can ask your local electrician to come in and take a look. We've also are just starting in the starting phases of helping to possibly create some resources for smaller businesses to understand what might be possible in the move to LED. It's going to give us a month or two, but we're starting to put that core together too, because small business also is near to our hearts, and collaboratively, collectively, we can have a huge amount of impact in a business by helping to provide for fewer expenses or being more cost effective. It's just in rallying those resources together to understand how to do the diagnosis.
Sure. So as a business owner, what's one of the more complicated decisions or things that I should be taking into consideration when it comes to making these lighting choices?
Assess your situation, essentially. If you have, here's the deal. If you haven't paid any attention to your light bulbs and you've only been replacing the ones that you've had with the things that and unless you have intentionally converted to LED, you probably are inefficient.
So you want to look first at the bulbs you use the most. That's number one.
And if you can be a grown up and not and really listen to these instructions, there's a nice little slogan. That's a slogan and a slogan and a logo put together. This slogan that if it's hot, it's not. All right. When it comes to incandescent technology, it creates heat first across the filament. Light is a secondary product of that light bulb. This is the way we've been lighting our homes for over 100 years. Okay. It gets really, really hot enough that they are the basis of easy bake ovens and Scentsy air fresheners, right? So, but an LED bulb, all the light's being generated by electricity going to a tiny little light emitting diode. So the only place on an incandescent bulb, the bulb gets very, very hot. It'll burn you. It's the same BTU as a burning candle. Okay. But if it's a LED bulb, there is heat at the base because there's energy transfer occurring there. Yeah, there's no way around that. But at the same time, the bulb surface itself doesn't get hot because it's not a flame. It's not a heat generating device. It's a light generating device. So the easiest way to assess if you have LED bulbs or not, or if you have high energy efficient lighting, is that fixture is not, you can put your hand near it, and if it's not hot, you're more than likely energy efficient. It's a very sophomoric basic test. But if you even like I had a dining room once in a house where we could only use it at Christmas. And I even had the heating and cooling guys in and said, what is going on with this dining room? And the guys are like, hey, it's set up the way it's supposed to be. I don't know. Well, it was the 12 light fixture candelabra that I put over the table. And at that time, it was still LED lighting hadn't been developed, right? But it had the equivalent of 12 burning candles on it whenever the light was on. Easy to understand that was happening because you could feel it even while you're sitting at the table. So if you feel heat emitting from your light fixtures, you probably need to consider efficiency. And it's good to consider it because more than likely in today's environment, residentially speaking, the return on investment is less than 6 months. In some instances, we're finding it to be 2 to 3 months. And then in a business perspective, it can be in just a couple of years, if not months as well, depending on the fixtures.
Wow. So as business owners and starting this for-profit or for-impact organization, what is some advice that you would give to somebody who has an idea and wants to pursue it, but isn't really sure where to start or what to do?
Oh, that's a good one.
It takes time.
It takes time. Start writing down your goals, what your objectives are, make a plan. You don't want to just, operate by the seat of your pants.
Yeah.
Connections have been super important for this nonprofit. And that's kind of one of the things that we haven't talked about yet is really our focus as we move forward is to get groups and students to help others convert. Mm-hmm. We have some exciting things in the works locally that we can't really talk too much about yet, but we should know some more about that in the next couple of weeks because we're starting here locally and we want to push this out nationally,
which is exciting. And
so,
but it's been 2 years.
Yeah,
that's the bit. Every once in a while, for me, a lot of the time consider this this project like a big giant rock. It's like, okay, all I have to do is push it a little bit further up the hill. What can I do today to make this happen? This entity. Mm-hmm. Think it from, and I've got business training background, and there are so many constructs like, yes, you make your goals measurable and the different things that you have to do, but you just have to not be afraid to start small.
Right.
Because it's not going to happen tomorrow. This problem, we could talk, we haven't even talked kilowatts yet.
And we're not going to. But start small, ask for help, use the resources that you have. Family, friends, community members who are interested in what you're doing.
Or even if you don't think they are, they might be. You just have to talk to them. Yeah. They may wear your story. Wear it, not share it even, just wear it.
I love that. Wear your story.
Wear it.
That is great advice. That is great advice. So if somebody wants to learn more or find ways to get involved or support, where do they go to get in touch with you and really dig into this?
Here, can we back up for a second? Because the extra reason why the two of us are here. I started this quest and this curiosity about LED, but it came to realize very quickly on that I didn't have the stuff that it took to do anything essentially and be effective with just the talents that I had. I lack an understanding of the digital environment terribly. And in that, at one time we shared with Laura, and we know each other from years ago, and with our kid over the years, with
lots of work in junior league.
We have been junior league trained. And one day I came to her, I'm like, you know what? I've got this great idea, but this whole digital thing is killing me. It's not working. I'm about to give up because it's just I don't have enough here or to make it happen. And you said, hey, I'm kind of curious about that. I'd like to understand if I've got, and some of this is teaching us that we've got what it takes to work in this environment and business, because a lot of focus has been on our families for many years, intense focus on our families. And so you said, I'm curious, let me see what I can do. And we can maybe take a look at this together. And it has been light years difference. We have meetings and Laura will say, I'll say, oh my gosh, how did this happen? And she'll say, oh, it was easy. I just blah, 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 blah on the computer. And I think, that never would have happened here. And then 5 seconds later, I'll say, got a meeting with so-and-so. And she'll look at me and say, how did you do that? I'm like, it was easy. All I did was call, email, whatever. If anybody out there has had me approach them for a meeting, you know, my deal. And so we've complemented each other beautifully. It is
Which is such an important part of building a good partnership, is finding people with different strength zones, but who have the same capacity and passion around the end goal, the vision that you have for it.
We don't give enough credit to all the people that help us help us in our lives that we do. Yes. And then in every organization, it's a multitude of talent. What we also is big with our projects and working with teams is that you have the opportunity to work with an orchestra and understand you are the orchestra leader, and that this is all the idea that nothing's done by any one person alone, but it's a collaboration across multiple resources to a common goal, the music.
And the code launch,
Amen.
this contest that we're in right now, that's one of the things that they do. They are working with these small companies. We might be the only nonprofit.
They said we
sure
were their
about
first nonprofit,
Yeah.
so their antenna
Nice.
went up. Our goal, well, here's why we're different. Our goal is to run ourselves out of business. How often
I love
does
that.
It is to make us done, that we can say we did it, move the needle. At this point, we estimate that maybe 10% of all households have made the effort to switch to LED,
Mhm.
and probably not comprehensive across their homes anyway. New ones, okay, maybe.
Yep.
They're all, yeah. But so we've got a lot of work to do.
You do, but it sounds like you're building an army to do that. So how does somebody become a part of this or learn more about it?
So we have a website. You can just go to it
Okay.
on your phone. It's ledbc.org. And we're updating it
Yes.
all the time. We have on it example projects that you can do. We're going to work to put some more resources on there for people that want to help others.
Yes.
That's the idea, is that groups can help each other so that this just starts to grow and grow and grow.
There's even the history of light bulb technology on this website, the constructs of
Awesome.
how did we get here? One of the other things, there's such a thing as carbon equivalents that are calculable by different.
Calculable, yeah.
Yes, and it's familiar with the idea that, hey, be conscientious of the environment, plant trees, right? And it's essentially for every household that converts their light bulbs to LED, from incandescent technology to LED. It's the same as having 40 mature trees in your yard.
That's amazing. That's a great statistic. And I think you guys, I don't know if you have infographics, but that would be a really great thing to share out. So I know we're running out of time. It has been so awesome to hear. We're going to put your contact details when we put out this video in the information below. So make sure that you check out the contact details, that you follow these two ladies. They are doing amazing things and making an impact, not just in our community, but a global impact, which is going to change the way we do things. And as a business owner, if you can save just a little bit of money on that bottom line by doing a couple of these little tweaks, what a great difference you're going to make in our community and even for your team. So definitely make sure that you check out the details below. Ladies, it has been a pleasure. Thank you so much for chatting with us. Anything last minute to add before I let you guys go for the day?
I do have one more. We are trying to get some more student projects off the ground, and they want to go and help businesses convert. So if anybody wants help and would love to have a student come in and do an assessment and help them with it, that would be really awesome. We are looking
volunteers,
for nice little projects that are well contained and can help with.
Awesome.
And we have examples of student success on our website, so people can go there and look at it, and we can help set them up.
That is terrific. You don't even have to invest the time as a business owner. It's sort of a done for you kind of solution.
That's what we're trying to do.
Well, you have to open the door and invite someone in, but that shouldn't be hard to do.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for opening the door for us and inviting us into your project as light bulb lunatics. And we appreciate your time today and sharing your passion for what you do. Again, check out their details below. This has been Glynis and Laura, and they have a tremendous amount of passion for making a positive change in our communities.